Hello and welcome to day 10 of our 12 days of English single malt whiskey. I'm joined by Mr. Luke John himself.
Konnichiwa.
And today we are going on a journey to Cheshire and we're looking at Weetwood. Weetwood have aptly named their whiskey the Cheshire. I think the clue is because it's from Cheshire. Weetwood itself is an ale and beer brewery. So they started in 1992 in Weetwood, and they moved into producing spirits in 2018, and they released their first whiskey in 2022. They do only have two whiskies. So they have the Cheshire, and then the one we have here, the Cheshire IPA. So the difference with this one is it's the same Cheshire whiskey, except they have taken 6 quarter casks and filled them up with their Jester IPA and let that soak into the wood of the barrels, and then they've taken that IPA out and put this in. So again, like we had with Bimber, we're seeing if beer in the wood and the flavours from it can translate across to the whiskey. Now, IPA is very notorious for its light, floral, delicate flavours. How it comes across into the whiskey is going to be an interesting thing to look at. They use ex-bourbon American oak quarter casks that they re-char before using for them. And I'm interested to see how IPA goes through this. Again, it's another brewery, isn't it, that's making whiskey, which is quite common, isn't it, now?
It is, and I will say as well that this would look great on any shelf, more so in the packaging that it comes in. It is kind of a great packaging. It looks nice. It's very different from like the Randolph bottle that we had on New Year's Day. Yeah, it looks good. Let's see if it actually tastes good.
I actually can't remember offhand if I've had Jester IPA. I have had and done a series on Weetwood ales. So I would assume I've had Jester IPA alongside some of their other ones. So we'll start as we always do with these. We're first of all going to just have a quick look at the colour. I don't think this is going to need much investigation on the colour of it. It does look like a pale golden, moving towards more like a sort of straw colour, I would say. It does look like it's slightly hazy though. So it's not being chill filtered in any ways, which is always a good sign, I would say.
Yep. Exactly how you described it. Exactly how you described.
Let's get on for a nose.
Oh, yeah.
I want to look up what Jester IPA hops it has.
It smells hoppy. It smells light. It smells a little delicate. Bit of sweetness there going on. Yeah.
Yeah, that is your citrus style IPA hops. That it smells inviting. I want to see how this translates across into the flavour. I'm sure you want to find out as well. Let's just tuck in. Cheers, lad. Cheers all. I think it hasn't quite translated across so well. I think you lose the nose smells nice, but I think whiskey and the flavors that you're able to impart through the distilling process perhaps don't quite blend well, maybe with IPA.
but it is smooth.
Oh, yes.
There is very little burn, and if you just wait to kind of get the whiskey underneath the tongue, there is citrus.
I
But
would be interested in putting this side by side with the Cheshire to see how much is perhaps imparted from the IPA versus how much is naturally in how they've distilled it. It is sweet. I wouldn't perhaps necessarily put that down to the IPA, but maybe I should just, because I haven't tried the Cheshire, just assume that is the IPA that's adding those elements into there.
yeah, it's kind of so we're seeing a lot of breweries now getting into distilling whiskey because obviously they can use their grain, malt, whatever as byproduct. So they're kind of doubling up on their income and plus the brand. But it's kind of I've had a few whiskey IPAs now because there is now quite a few of them out there in circulation, and they just seem to just miss it a little bit. It's great to have kind of a new style because it is its own style in an IPA whiskey, or a whiskey IPA. Is it a thing? It is now. But yeah, just kind of misses a trick a little bit.
Let's go for a second taste before we add some water in. It is 46%, so it's around the average. I know you have to wait for it to come through, as you said.
Yeah.
The first original taste are, it's grain. It's not so dry, that it's smooth. There's not big heat on it. It'd be interesting to see if this is triple distilled, because of how smooth and round that is. Thankfully, I'm assuming it's not first fill bourbon cask, so it's not bringing through all that pepperiness. I mean, the base whiskey itself is nice. It is a decent base whiskey, and then there is a slight citrusy note, as you say, at the end. I mean, Cheshire IPA is a citrus hop IPA.
Yeah.
Maybe that is the link.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if adding water does anything to boost the flavors.
It might boost the nose, but then reduce the flavor.
Yeah.
But we can only find out for you.
Find out. So just adding 2 drops.
I get more of a toffee.
Yeah, I'm getting like a creme brulee.
It's moved away from what was nice, subtle citrus, fruity notes to more toffee, caramel, creme brulee, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, makes sense to me, based on wood. All right, go for a taste of this one. That is still so smooth. I've got to say straight away, it is nice. I do like it. I'm not criticizing it at all. I'm just thinking the difference between the IPA and the actual Cheshire. If I was to choose between the two, I potentially would just choose the Cheshire, the standard version, because I'm not sure that the IPA is imparting enough flavor of what I would expect from an IPA. And as you know, I've been let down by a IPA cask previously, so you know it's to be expected. But as a standalone whiskey, ignoring the whole IPA element on it, I really do like it. It is smooth. It's not overpowering in any of the flavors. It's quite balanced and rounded. There is not massive heat on it. There is a nice little sweetness and that citra element on the finish
Yeah.
that hangs around. But overall, it's quite neutral on the palate when you're drinking to begin with. There's no anything pulling one way or the other. It's just the grain balancing coming through.
Yeah, if you want a really smooth English whiskey, then this is probably up there with it. Yeah, it's not terrible. It's not bad. It's just, kind of what does the IPA bring to it? And sadly, not a lot. Although the light little citrus that lingers right on the finish is quite nice. But yeah, I'd buy it.
The standard version of this, the Cheshire, is £50. I think that's a decent price. £50 for a small batch made, really smooth, delicate whiskey, I would say. No overpowering flavours. If you're buying it as a gift for someone who is venturing into whiskey for the first time, it's a good place to start. I would recommend it.
Yeah.
But for seasoned whiskey drinkers, it may not be your first port of call that you want to go to. But yeah.
Yeah, and that brings to close this one. If you're new around here, please subscribe, drop a comment and a little like, and we will catch you on tomorrow's video.
Take care, everyone.
Adios.